Hello everybody, my name is Ray. Welcome to the Evangelical Dark Web. Today we're going to be naming and shaming some of the evangelical thought leaders, and that's kind of a quote-unquote thought leaders, who celebrated the confirmation of Ketanji Brown Jackson. We're going to be naming and shaming, and we're just going to be keeping a record of this, not to keep a record of wrong necessarily, but to, these people have a credibility issue. And it's good to keep this in mind as we track their careers moving forward. When we have people that are, basically, in my opinion, a lot of these are frauds already. And we're going to be talking about some of the names. And this just is further evidence on the pile that these people are frauds and they should not be trusted. They should not be employed. They should not be receiving any tithe dollars, them or their organizations. So we're going to be talking about that in today's video. And again, this is about, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. And, Romans 1 talks about how it is, there's people that do the evil, and then there's those who give hearty approval to those who practice such things. And that's what these people are doing when they celebrate the appointment of a wicked, tyrannical judge to the highest court in the land. That is celebrating a tyrant. That is celebrating evil. To celebrate that at all is to celebrate evil. And we shouldn't celebrate evil events. So let's just go through some of the names. I think there's some pretty interesting names because there's a lot of people that were smart enough to avoid slipping on this banana peel, but we're going to talk about some of the names that really weren't. Brent Leatherwood, who is a blogger over at the ERLC. And if you work at the ERLC, I'm going to call you a blogger because that's all the ERLC is. They are a glorified blog. They do nothing. They accomplish nothing. They get millions of dollars in funding to do nothing but operate a blog. And maybe they throw some conferences, which I believe they also raise money from anyway. So it's not really... It is a glorified blog. They have no real accomplishments for which they can say, hey, we got this person elected or we got this policy passed. They can't really say that because that would be lying. So Brent Leatherwood is an ERLC blogger, and he tweeted out, I'm hopeful we can pull back from our partisan or philosophical different preferences for a brief moment and just appreciate this for what it is. History. America remains a place where noteworthy achievements still occur. That is something to truly be thankful for. And what is the noteworthy achievement? Being black or being a woman? But she didn't know what a woman is because she's not a biologist. Now, is she? So, that's a really stupid thing to say, that this is a historical moment. What exactly is historical about it? And just to posit this, have there been any good women on the Supreme Court, like, ever? Ever. Sandra Day O'Connor was bad. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was bad. Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor also bad. And then Barrett has also been a huge disappointment thus far. Way below the expectations, the very lofty expectations that conservative media placed on her, which I kind of was beginning to see through. I wasn't excited. She was not my first choice for Trump to do, but you just knew he was going to appoint her to that position. So that's Brent Leatherwood, and the ERLC has got his back, and they expound upon his tweeting, or his quote, and say, if we lose the ability to do that, we lose something that makes America an exceptional nation. And this is kind of the thing where just because something's American does not make it good. So again, we're putting America in something that happens in America above whether the Bible would call us good or evil. And, again, Joe Biden, he started his presidency talking about court packing. They were kind of debating that issue. It wasn't a popular issue, so they walked away from that issue. But they had their chance to appoint someone to the Supreme Court, and he said, I'm going to put a black woman there. And obviously they found the most liberal black woman they could probably find. who's a definite believer in transgenderism and very light on the peds. But we're going to call this a good thing? Like, really? This is a person that, again, she was light on the issue of child pornography, or CP, as I'll call it. She was light on CP, and the thing is, like, I'm pretty sure in order to get convicted of that, you have to download it. Like, you have to download it. Which, you went really far to get to that place where you had to download that stuff. So, anyway, to go light on those criminals, not a good thing. Should not be in the thing. Now, Eric Erickson, this is less surprising. Eric Erickson is a great reset simp. And, like, if you're simping for Zelensky, you are simping for the Great Reset. You are. You fell for the current narrative. Show me the person that was wise to COVID but fell for the Ukrainian narrative. Like, if there's a Venn diagram, it's kind of a circle, or maybe some people have learned, so you got a Venn diagram going on. But the people that were, like, who are the people that did not fall for either narrative? Like, that's the Venn diagram that exists. And then, but who's the person that did not fall for COVID but fell for Zelensky as the new Fauci? Like, that's Eric Erickson. And this is in between how he's, not only is he simping for Zelensky, but he's also still getting his children tested for COVID. Like, it's the government's business if they're sick or not. Like, that's really stupid, bad parenting. So this is what he said. If you're a Christian offended by Leatherwood, Brent Leatherwood, the person we just talked about, saying this, you're putting worldly partisanship ahead of Christian loving your neighbor, and you might need to get off Twitter for a bit, which is just an asinine thing to say. Like, first of all, Eric Erickson spends his entire life on Twitter. That's why he's probably gotten left wing over the years, is he believes Twitter is real life, and Twitter is largely a Democrat echo chamber. And on top of the Twitter being a large place, a large Democrat ecosystem, it is their watering hole. It is the watering hole of Democrat ideology. And he sticks his little beak in that watering hole, and he comes out more liberal. I think that's kind of how a lot of these people became more liberal. People like Eric Erickson kind of went to the left, is that he got affirmation from Twitter. He lives for Twitter affirmation because he certainly isn't getting that in his career elsewhere. So he's once again trying to get that liberal love. And I don't know if this tweet got ratioed or not, because I'm not on Twitter, so I can't exactly see all those metrics. But this is just he doesn't know what loving your neighbor is, and he thinks that loving your neighbor is being nice. That's not what loving your neighbor is. And he thinks that this is worldly partisanship. How about knowing what good and evil is? Godly partisanship. So Eric Erickson, not as surprising, because he's, again, all about that Great Reset. Now we're going to talk about Daniel Darling. Now, the last time I talked about Daniel Darling was when I did that Russell Moore is a whore video and article. And during that video, Daniel Darling was the other person on the panel that was hosted by the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. So you had some very dark money from the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. That's money that shouldn't really be going into a professed Christian's hands, because that money, and it was being used to promote pop-up vaccine clinics at churches. So Daniel Darling was a part of trying to pimp that out to churches, trying to pimp churches out to inject poisonous jabs into people's arms. So that's what Daniel Darling was a part of. And additionally, he also endorsed Bart Barber. You should check that article out at evangelicaldarkweb.org, where Daniel Darling endorsed Bart Barber. So along with David French. So we got a lot of who's who of this circle, this Twitter circle jerk, endorsing Bart Barber and celebrating this history. And this is Daniel Darling's tweet. I disagree with her judicial philosophy, but I celebrate the history of Judge Jackson's appointment, and I'm praying for wisdom and discernment as she serves on the highest court. So you're celebrating the history of the judge's appointment. What history is to celebrate? Again, like being the first woman on the Supreme Court, and what was it, Sandra Day O'Connor, right? And she was terrible. Like, is that worth celebrating? In hindsight, no, it's not. It's not worth celebrating. Thurgood Marshall was the first black man to be on the Supreme Court. He was a terrible justice. He was terrible. He was one of the people that voted for Roe v. Wade, fun fact. So, should he be a celebrated person in American history? No. He should actually be canceled. We should rename BWI Airport to not celebrate Thurgood Marshall because he was a terrible human being. So, with that said, this isn't something to celebrate. We should not celebrate when evil people triumph. So, that's the least surprising, or that's actually one of the more surprising ones. Because again, Russell Moore, Beth Moore, David French even, Ed Stetzer all avoided this banana. They avoided the banana peel, but you got the usual suspects. Actually, the usual suspect is Dwight McKissick. Like, you expect Dwight McKissick, and here's the thing, and just to get into some drama alert, Tom Askell said, if you are a Christian defending the ERLC expressing appreciation for a Mullahite, that's a based term to drop. I like that. I might have to start using Mullahite. Being appointed to SCOTUS as loving your neighbor, you definitely need to get off Twitter and begin reading your Bible to learn what genuine love is. Starting with Romans 12:9. That is an excellent response, and that's in response to Eric Erickson's tweet. You see how this is just going in a line of people responding to the current thing? And we're just, let's just name and shame these people. Like, Dwight McKissick is an obvious liberal. He does not really have Baptist polity or theology. Like, I'm pretty sure he's egalitarian as well. This toxic communication style and calling this dignified, highly respected Christian woman a Mullahite is indicative of why I'm asked, don't you have to be GOP to be SBC? Tom hasn't refuted the J6 insurrectionist. Where's the evidence that Judge Jackson affirms abortion, Tom? And again, to say that she doesn't affirm abortion is kind of asinine. I think at this point, again, you can't really be in the Democrat Party and not be pro-abortion. And they crack down on people that aren't pro-abortion enough. So, and then you also see Dwight McKissick affirming the faith of KBJ. And I like calling her KBJ because she has that Kamala Harris energy of being a flat-out token appointed to high office despite never actually doing anything to earn it. And no, I don't care about being a circuit court judge. I don't even care about being a lawyer. To me, we shouldn't even be putting judges on the Supreme Court anymore. Just put a senator that's actually really good at their job. Put in a state's attorney general on the Supreme Court for all I care. Stop putting circuit court judges that have this asinine belief in stare decisis that's unconstitutional, or anti-constitutional is probably a more precise way to put it. This view that case law is law, and this view that we need to recognize past Supreme Court precedent, which no institution has done more damage to our individual liberties in the United States than the Supreme Court. No institution has done more damage than the Supreme Court. So Dwight McKissick is the least surprising example I have here to name and shame. But here he is, and he's affirming the faith of someone that has no reason to affirm the faith. They believe in transgenderism. That is enough reason to deny or to not affirm their profession of faith or a profession of faith about them. Just like I wouldn't affirm Trump's profession of faith because he famously said he's never really felt the need to repent or doesn't have any regrets or whatever. Trump famously said that in 2015. So this is same thing. There's really no reason to affirm someone's faith like that. So anyway, we're just getting the week kicked off. A lot of stuff going on, and it's Holy Week, so let's celebrate that as well. And we'll be gearing up for Resurrection Sunday this week, so that'll be fun as well. I think we're going to talk about the state of the church, hopefully, as well as some other interesting topics to cover. So don't forget to like the video and also subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you on the next one.